What if there's a specific point in consciousness where the impossible becomes possible, where your thoughts don't just influence reality, they instantaneously become reality? Quantum physicists have discovered something extraordinary. There are connection points in the fabric of space-time where all possibilities converge. Nexus points. In physics, these are theoretical junctures where quantum entanglement reaches maximum coherence. But in manifestation, we believe something profound, that you have access to a personal quantum nexus, a connection point between your consciousness and the field where miracles don't just happen, they're inevitable. Most people never find their nexus because they're searching externally, looking for the right method or the perfect moment. But your quantum nexus isn't out there. In our framework, we believe it's a state of consciousness, a frequency of awareness where the gap between intention and manifestation collapses completely. This video reveals 4 techniques for locating and activating what we believe is your personal quantum nexus. And that 4th technique? It's the advanced nexus navigation method that we believe creates what people call miracles manifestations so fast, so synchronistic, they seem to defy the laws of cause and effect. Let me share something personal that changed my entire relationship with manifestation. A few years ago, I was deep in struggle. Not just external circumstances, though those were challenging. The real struggle was internal, a constant friction between what I desired and what I was experiencing. I'd learned all the manifestation techniques, visualization, affirmations, embodiment practices. And they worked, sometimes. But it felt like pushing a boulder uphill. Effort, resistance, incremental progress punctuated by setbacks. Then one evening, sitting in meditation, something shifted. I can't fully explain it in words, but there was a moment, maybe 3 seconds, maybe 3 minutes, time felt irrelevant, where everything aligned. My breath, my heartbeat, my thoughts, my emotions, the space around me, all synchronized into this perfect coherence. And in that coherence, I felt it, a point, a connection, like finding the exact frequency on a radio where static disappears and the signal becomes crystal clear. In that moment, I wasn't trying to manifest anything. I wasn't visualizing or affirming. I was simply present in this point of perfect alignment. And from that point, over the next several weeks, things I'd been struggling toward for months appeared effortlessly. Not all at once, but with a synchronistic flow that felt different. Less like I was creating and more like I was allowing, like I'd found a doorway where manifestation happens naturally, without force. I didn't have language for it then, but now, studying quantum physics and consciousness research, I understand what I experienced. In manifestation, we believe it was my personal quantum nexus, the connection point where my consciousness and the quantum field achieve perfect resonance, where the gap between intention and manifestation dissolves, where miracles become the natural order. And here's what I want you to understand. This isn't special. This isn't reserved for advanced meditators or spiritual masters. In our framework, we believe everyone has access to their quantum nexus. Most people just don't know it exists, don't know how to find it, and don't know how to activate it. But you're about to learn all 3. So let's start with the foundation. What is the quantum nexus? In theoretical physics, a nexus point would be a location in space-time where multiple quantum states converge with maximum entanglement. Imagine the fabric of reality as a web. Most of the web is relatively stable, but there are certain junctures, certain nodes, where threads from multiple directions meet and create connection points of extraordinary potential. Now, in standard physics, this is purely theoretical and wouldn't involve consciousness. The quantum field operates through environmental interactions according to mathematical laws. But in manifestation, we believe something fascinating. that consciousness itself creates nexus points. That when your awareness reaches certain states of coherence, when your thoughts, emotions, and intentions align perfectly, you create what we call a personal quantum nexus, a temporary connection point between your individual consciousness and the larger quantum field where manifestation accelerates exponentially. Think of it like this. Normally, you're broadcasting into the field with mixed signals. Part of you wants abundance, while another part fears scarcity. Part of you desires love, while another part expects abandonment. These mixed signals create quantum interference like waves cancelling each other out. But when you find your nexus point, when you achieve perfect internal coherence, all those waves align. They amplify each other. And in our framework, we believe that amplified, coherent signal interacts with the quantum field with such power that manifestation becomes almost instantaneous. This isn't magical thinking. This is drawing inspiration from quantum coherence principles. In quantum systems, when particles achieve coherent states, when their wave functions align, they exhibit behaviors that seem impossible from a classical perspective. Quantum computers leverage this coherence to perform calculations that would take traditional computers millennia. Lasers achieve coherent light that can cut through steel or perform delicate surgery. Coherence, in physics, is power. In manifestation, we believe the same principle applies to consciousness. When you achieve internal coherence, when you find your nexus point, you're not just thinking about what you want. We believe you're creating a coherent quantum state that resonates with the field in ways scattered, incoherent consciousness cannot. And in that resonance, we believe miracles become probable. Let me ground this in neuroscience for a moment, because your brain is the biological interface through which we believe nexus experiences occur. The HeartMath Institute has conducted extensive research on psychophysiological coherence, the state when your heart rhythm, breathing, and brainwaves synchronize. They've found that in coherent states, your heart generates an extremely ordered electromagnetic field that can be measured several feet from your body. And here's what's fascinating. When you're in this coherent state, your cognitive performance improves, your emotional regulation strengthens, and your ability to influence random number generators' quantum systems increases statistically. In manifestation, we believe this coherent state is what creates access to your quantum nexus. It's not just about feeling good. It's about achieving a specific physiological and consciousness state where we believe your interface with the quantum field becomes optimally calibrated. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research supports this beautifully. He's measured brain scans of meditators and found that in certain states of deep coherence, the brain shows gamma wave synchronization across multiple regions. Gamma waves are associated with higher consciousness, insight, and what he calls the unified field experience. People in these states report timelessness, infinite possibility, and connection to something vast. In our framework, we believe they are experiencing their quantum nexus, the connection point where individual consciousness touches the infinite field. So how do you find your personal nexus? That's technique number 1, coherent scanning. This practice trains you to recognize the internal state that signals you're approaching your nexus point. Here's how it works. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed for 15 minutes. Sit comfortably, close your eyes. Begin with coherent breathing, this is crucial. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 6. This rhythm has been shown to create heart-brain coherence. Continue for 5 minutes, focusing only on the breath. You're not trying to relax. You're calibrating your system to coherence. After 5 minutes, shift your attention to your heart center. Imagine breathing through your heart. As you do this, generate a feeling of genuine appreciation or gratitude, not forced. Real appreciation for something simple, a person you love, a beautiful sunset, the fact that you're alive. HeartMath research shows appreciation is one of the most powerful emotions for creating coherence. Now, here's the scanning part. As you breathe and feel appreciation, notice your internal state with curiosity. What does coherence feel like in your body? For some, it's a warmth in the chest. For others, a tingling sensation. Some experience it as spaciousness, like the boundaries of self becoming softer. There's no right answer. You're learning your body's signature for coherence. Stay in this state for 10 minutes. You're not manifesting anything specific yet. You're simply familiarizing yourself with the terrain. In our framework, we believe you're learning to recognize when you're approaching your quantum nexus. The more familiar you become with this state, the easier it becomes to access it intentionally. Practice this daily for 1 week. Keep a journal. Note what coherence feels like each day. Is there a particular quality of attention, a specific sensation, a shift in how you perceive time or space? You're mapping your internal landscape, learning the coordinates of what we believe is your nexus point. Technique number 2, nexus activation through intention collapse. Once you can reliably access coherence, you're ready to activate your nexus for specific manifestations. This is where quantum nexus point manifestation becomes practical. Here's the protocol. Enter your coherent state using the practice from Technique 1. Once you feel that signature sensation, that sense of alignment, you're at the threshold of what we believe is your quantum nexus. Now, bring to mind one specific intention, one clear, precise desire, not a vague wish but a crystallized intention. I received the job offer for the senior position at Company X by month's end with a starting salary of $X or higher. Now, here's what's different about nexus activation. You're not visualizing from a state of wanting. You're not affirming from a state of lack. In our framework, we believe you're collapsing intention into the nexus point itself. Imagine your intention as a beam of light, and your nexus, that point of perfect coherence you found, is like a lens. The beam of intention passes through the lens of coherence and, in our belief system, becomes instantly encoded into the quantum field. Hold your intention in this nexus state for exactly 3 minutes, not longer. In manifestation, we believe the nexus point is powerful but unstable, like a quantum state that collapses quickly. 3 minutes of focused, coherent intention in the nexus, we believe, is more powerful than hours of scattered visualization from ordinary consciousness. After 3 minutes, release completely. This is crucial. In our framework, we believe the intention is now encoded at the quantum level. Obsessing or checking would pull you out of nexus coherence and, we believe, interfere with the manifestation. Trust that from this connection point, the quantum field is organizing reality around your intention. Practice this once per week for specific intentions. More frequently risks creating anxiety, which destroys coherence. Once per week maintains the power while allowing space for manifestation to unfold. If you're feeling this shift from striving to allowing, from forcing to resonating, hit subscribe and bell icon next to it. Also join our manifestation club on gogetter.au. This isn't just content, it's a practice community. In our framework, we believe we're learning together how to access states of consciousness where manifestation isn't work. It's natural expression. If you're sensing your own nexus point while watching this, you're already changing what's possible for you. Let's continue exploring together. Now let me address something important. Some of you might be thinking, if the nexus is so powerful, why doesn't it work every time? Valid question. In physics, coherence is fragile. Quantum systems decohere when they interact with their environment. A perfectly coherent quantum state can collapse into classical randomness almost instantly when exposed to temperature, vibration, or measurement. In manifestation, we believe something similar happens with your personal quantum nexus. The state is real, the connection is genuine, but it's vulnerable to decoherence. Doubt is decoherence. Anxiety is decoherence. Obsessive checking is decoherence. That's why the practices emphasize finding the state, encoding your intention, then releasing completely. You're working with what we believe is a quantum level phenomenon that requires you to honor its delicate nature. In the comments, drop one word that represents what you want to encode into your quantum nexus right now. Maybe abundance, maybe love, maybe clarity, maybe freedom, maybe something uniquely yours. In our framework, we believe this isn't just a comment, it's a quantum declaration, a signal to the field that you're activating your nexus point. Technique number 3, Miracle Point Meditation. This practice is about extending your time in the nexus state and, in our belief system, learning to function from nexus consciousness in daily life. Because here's what we've discovered: the quantum nexus isn't just a place you visit in meditation, it can become your baseline consciousness. Here's how to practice. Set aside 20 minutes. Enter coherence as before: breath, heart, focus, appreciation. Once coherent, imagine you're standing at the center of a vast web of light. This web represents what we believe is the quantum field, and you're standing at a nexus point where all the threads converge. From this nexus point, you can see infinite possibilities radiating outward in all directions. Different timelines, different realities, different versions of your life. In our framework, we believe they're all real as probability waves, all accessible from this connection point. Spend 5 minutes simply observing this web. No agenda, just witnessing the infinite potential. Now, here's the miracle point aspect. From this nexus, choose one possibility you want to experience. Don't reach for it. In manifestation, we believe reaching creates separation. Instead, imagine that possibility is a thread in the web, and you're gently pulling it toward your nexus point. As it approaches, feel it. What does this reality feel like? What quality of consciousness does it embody? When the possibility reaches your nexus point, merge with it. Let it collapse into you. Let yourself collapse into it. In our framework, we believe this is instant manifestation at the consciousness level. The outer manifestation may take time to organize, but at the nexus point, the miracle has already occurred. You're already living in that reality at the quantum level. Stay in this merged state for 10 minutes. Embody it fully. Let every cell of your body recognize this as real. Then, slowly, gently, open your eyes. In our belief system, you've just activated what we call the miracle point, the nexus moment where impossibility becomes probability, where the extraordinary becomes expected. Practice this 3 times per week. Most people report that within 2 to 4 weeks, synchronicities increase dramatically. Things they'd encoded at the miracle point begin manifesting in physical reality with surprising speed and elegance. In our framework, we believe that's the nexus working reality, organizing around the coherent intentions you've planted at the quantum connection point. In the comments, share one small act you're committing to today, something that anchors you in nexus consciousness rather than scattered awareness. Maybe it's pause before reacting, or breathe before deciding, or trust before controlling. Your word matters. In manifestation, we believe your commitment to coherence strengthens your access to the quantum nexus. Now, advanced practice. Technique number 4, Nexus Navigation Protocol. This is the complete system for what we believe is living from the quantum nexus as your primary operating system. 7 stages. This isn't a meditation you do once. It's a consciousness recalibration process. Stage 1. Establish baseline coherence. For the first week, practice coherence scanning daily as described in Technique 1. You're building the foundation. Without reliable access to coherence, nexus navigation isn't possible. Track your coherence practice. Note patterns. When is it easier? What supports it? You're learning the conditions that favor what we believe is nexus access. Stage 2. Identify your nexus signature. In the second week, as you enter coherence, pay close attention to the exact moment when ordinary consciousness shifts into something more expansive. There's usually a subtle but distinct transition. Some people feel it as a click, others as a softening, others as a sudden clarity. In our framework, we believe that's your nexus signature, the sensory marker that tells you you've arrived at your quantum connection point. Memorize this feeling. It becomes your compass. Stage 3. Encode primary intention. Week 3. You're ready to work with your most important manifestation. Enter coherence. Find your nexus signature. Then, using the technique from Nexus activation, Encode one primary intention into this state, only one. In manifestation, we believe the Nexus works best with focused, singular intentions rather than scattered desires. Spend 3 minutes encoding it, then release completely. Stage 4. Daily Nexus Check-in. Week 4 onward, your practice shifts. Instead of long meditations, you're doing brief check-ins. 3 to 5 times daily, pause. Take 3 coherent breaths. Feel for your Nexus signature. You're not meditating, you're touching base with the quantum connection point, reminding yourself it exists, keeping the channel open. In our framework, we believe these micro practices maintain Nexus coherence throughout your day. Stage 5. Decision making from the Nexus. This is where it gets practical. Before any significant decision, enter coherence. Find your Nexus point and ask the decision from that state. Not from anxiety or overthinking, but from the connection point where we believe you have access to quantum level information. The answer that arises from the Nexus, we believe, is aligned with your highest timeline. Trust it, act on it. Over time, you're training yourself to live from Nexus consciousness rather than default reactivity. Stage 6. Nexus recalibration. Once per month, do a full 20-minute miracle point meditation from Technique 3. This recalibrates your system, clears accumulated incoherence, and, in our belief, refreshes your connection to the quantum nexus. Think of it as maintenance. The nexus is always available, but regular deep practice keeps your access clear and strong. Stage 7. Embodied integration. This is ongoing. As manifestations begin appearing from your nexus encoded intentions, notice them, celebrate them, journal them. You're gathering evidence that, in our framework, the quantum nexus is real and responsive. This evidence builds trust, and trust deepens coherence, which strengthens your nexus. It becomes a positive feedback loop, more coherence, clearer nexus, faster manifestations, deeper trust. Let me bring in ancient wisdom here, because what we believe about the quantum nexus has been taught by mystics across traditions. In Hinduism, they speak of the bindu, the 0 point from which all creation emerges. In our framework, we believe that's the nexus. In Buddhism, there's the concept of shunyata, often translated as emptiness, but more accurately understood as infinite potential. The space where all possibilities exist before they take form. That's nexus consciousness. The Kabbalistic tradition teaches about Ein Sof, the infinite, and the point of Keter, where divine consciousness touches manifest reality. In manifestation, we believe that's describing the nexus, the connection point between infinite field and individual experience. Taoist philosophy speaks of Wu Wei, effortless action that flows when you're aligned with the Tao. In our belief system, that's what happens when you operate from your quantum nexus. Action becomes effortless because you're moving with the field, not against it. Even Christian mysticism points to this. Meister Eckhart spoke of the ground of being, the deepest point of the soul where human consciousness touches divine consciousness. In our framework, we believe he was describing nexus awareness, the connection point where individual and universal consciousness merge. Make sure you share this video with someone who's ready for this level of practice. For you, it may be just sharing content, but for someone else, it might be the catalyst that helps them find their quantum nexus. And in our belief system, when more people access coherent nexus states, the collective field becomes more conducive to miracles for everyone. Here's what I want you to feel, not just understand intellectually. You're not separate from the source of miracles. In our framework, we believe you contain a connection point, a quantum nexus, where your consciousness and infinite possibility meet. And from that meeting point, what you call miracles, impossible fast manifestations, synchronicities that defy logic, solutions that appear from nowhere, these become the natural expression of coherent consciousness. You don't have to earn access to your nexus. You don't have to be spiritually advanced or perfectly healed or completely transformed. The nexus exists now. It's always existed. In manifestation, We believe it's woven into the fabric of your awareness. You just have to find it, activate it, learn to live from it. And when you do, when you make the Nexus your home base instead of scattered reactivity, reality responds differently. Not because you're controlling it, but because, in our belief, you're operating from the connection point where consciousness and creation are one unified field. Now, there's a foundation practice that amplifies everything we've covered: the double slit experiment and what it reveals about conscious observation. Understanding how your awareness collapses probability into form gives you the theoretical framework that makes Nexus navigation more powerful. There's a complete video breaking down that experiment and its manifestation implications. It's already live. Click and watch it on the end screen. It's the perfect complement to Nexus work, the science behind why we believe observation from coherent states creates reality. If this is landing in your body, if you're feeling called to explore your own quantum nexus, stay connected. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. This isn't just a YouTube channel, it's a field experiment in consciousness. In our framework, we believe we are discovering together how to access states where the miraculous becomes ordinary. Where instant manifestation isn't magic, it's physics. Where you recognize yourself as the nexus point between infinite potential and manifest reality. I'm grateful you're here for this exploration. Your challenge: commit to the 7-stage Nexus navigation protocol. 4 weeks minimum. Follow each stage precisely. Keep detailed notes. Track coherence patterns, Nexus signatures, encoded intentions, and manifestations that appear. In our belief system, you'll gather personal evidence that the quantum nexus is real, that you can access it, and that from that connection point, miracles aren't rare exceptions, they are the natural order of a coherent consciousness interfacing with a responsive field. You've got the framework, you've got the practices, you've got the understanding that, in manifestation, we believe there's a point in consciousness where all miracles happen. Not someday when you're ready, now, always now, whenever you find your nexus. The quantum nexus isn't a place, it's a state. And in our framework, we believe that state is your birthright, your natural consciousness, the frequency where you and the field of infinite possibility recognize each other and dance together in creative partnership. Welcome to your quantum nexus. In our belief, the miracles are already waiting.